It's Friday, it's puck time. I'm Lawrence Presman. They call me the Prez, co-founder of WagerTalk Media, owner of WagerTalk.com, SportsMemo.com, and the iconic Gold Sheet. You're watching Puck Time. It's up Monday to Friday at WagerTalk TV over at our YouTube channel, plus a whole slew of podcasts. Today's show, Carmine Bianco and Alex B. Smith. We're talking 3 NHL games, all of the games that go today. And Carm wants to make mention of a couple of NHL games Saturday. So I'd like to bring my guests in. Let's start with Alex B. Smith. You were not feeling well yesterday. The Coke didn't make you live to 107?
No, it definitely did not yesterday. It was pretty bad. Went from having stomach issues to headache issues. So lost most of the afternoon, but feeling good now and ready for what should be a fun weekend. Like I said, full card, three games tonight, full card tomorrow, college and pro football as well. So looking forward to the weekend. Carmine
Bianco, what's up with the hat?
It's my Juve team. I'm getting ready to get a few little soccer today. It's Euro 2020 qualifying, so I figured I'd wear a soccer hat. But I've got the new girly jersey right behind me here, which I picked up yesterday, and
nice.
I'm adding to the collection. Eli Manning out, girly in. It's kind of like my fantasy football team. I get the bad guys out.
Hi, everybody. Prez. I want to quickly thank you all for the wonderful comments you guys put up about Puck Time. It's probably the most loved show I do on a regular basis. Very few people bash me on Puck Time. The betting edge, yesterday I got bashed. And I just want to say to everybody who bashes me, I hope you feel better. And if you do, then I'm achieving my goal. It doesn't bother me one bit. Just make sure to keep commenting and keep posting, because that's how we move up the ranks at YouTube, so it's greatly appreciated from my perspective. I won last night. I'm 5-3 on the year in hockey. I called Colorado. And Carm, yesterday we were talking about my girlfriend Vivian. She started her first soiree into betting. She had the over 6.5 in the Leaf game. She hit that in the first period.
The first period.
Yeah, she now has the taste. I'm extremely concerned.
No, listen, it is a genius move by you to do this. I've done this with my wife and setting up a Bet365 account for her, and I'll load occasionally like a $1.50 in there and run it up to a dime for her, withdraw it, and she gets like $1,000 into her bank account. She's like, "Wow, this is great. I love sports," right? So you're doing the same thing with Viv. It's great. I think it's a great way to keep a relationship together.
Yeah.
The family that bets together stays together.
Yeah, except here's the only problem. She now thinks it's easy and wants to understand how I lose every now and
everyone
then.
Who wins their first wager thinks it's easy.
Yeah,
especially when it's easy like 7-3 or an over. If they all were that easy, we'd all be billionaires. So.
Guys, let's get into it. Before we talk hockey, Oskeim Sports on a 17-3 all sports run. That's correct, 17-3 in his last 20 plays. He's got a 5% college football play up for Saturday. It's $40. I got a promotion code for you all, so you could get it for half price. $20 off of his $40 5% play, or $20 off of anything over $40 for him. Just use the promo code OSK20. That's OSK20. Boys, let's talk Anaheim, Columbus. Anaheim 3-1 on the season. Really a team that's playing unbelievable defense. I mean, if you look back, I think there are 3 or 4 goals in all 4 games. Just really back-checking well, keeping the team in front of them. Now they're playing Columbus, another team that, from a defensive perspective, pretty much that's their only way to win. We have a total of 5.5 on the board, and I like the under in this game. I think it's going to be a low-scoring game. But Alex, we'll go to you first. I really like Columbus here. I think it's a tough spot for Anaheim. You know, they're on a long East Coast road trip. They did win a couple, and they did lose last night. And I think we're going to see them lose again. They're not a great team. They're not going to make the playoffs, and I don't think they're going to start the season 4-1. I like Columbus minus the 141, and I like under and a predicted score of, give or take, 3-1 Columbus. What do you think?
Yeah, it's an interesting game. Like I said, this will be the third game in 4 nights for Anaheim on their road trip. And you want to get those East Coast trips out of the way if you're a West Coast team. So that is one positive of this. But this is a good spot for Columbus. Like I said, they're the team that's going to struggle all year long. And it's built into the line already. You say you've seen a minus $1.35, $1.40, the travel angle with Anaheim. That's the only reason why Columbus would even be favored here. But I do like Columbus. I would take them in regulation. You can get it at plus $1.10, $1.15 in some spots. This just seems to be a good spot for Columbus at home, having a couple of days off. You look at, like I said, Anaheim. It was John Gibson that was in net those last couple of games. He's a guy who can, steal a game from just about anyone at any time. Ryan Miller more than likely going to start the second night of back-to-backs here. So it's a big drop-off between Gibson to Miller. I think that's something that Columbus will be able to take advantage of. So Columbus in regulation plus $1.10.
Mr. Bianco, what are your thoughts?
Yeah, it's a similar thing here. With Miller in net tonight, I think it's Korpisalo for the Jackets. And look, they kept the Sabres, who up until this point have been a high flying scoring team. They kept them to like 18 shots on net in that game, that 4-3 win in OT. I don't think there's a lot of goals in this game. The Ducks, when you look at some specialty teams, the Ducks are like the third or fourth best team right now. I know it's early on, only 4 games in, 93%, but 0 power play goals. So as good as they are penalty killing, they're just not putting any in net. This is, I like the Jackets here, and this is probably one that does stay under. They're averaging 2.2 goals per game.
Yeah.
All four games for the Ducks have gone under. This is probably another one, like a 3-1 Columbus win if I had to toss a score out there.
He's Carmine Bianco, Alex B. Smith. You're watching Puck Time. Alex, speaking of teams that have the opposite power play problem as Columbus, the Buffalo Sabres, this team is on fire on the power play. They just came off a beautiful win against Montreal. Although is Montreal really that good? I mean, come on. They go home for their home opener, play Detroit, a minor league hockey team, and lost 4-2. Oh, where's Andrew when we need him? Oh, yeah, his sound sucks. Buffalo plus 105. It's basically a pick'em game against Florida. Over and under is 6. These two teams are really, to me, going to be 8 and 9 at the end of the season. Which one of them is going to make the playoffs? Which one of them is going to look in? Important game for both of them. Not now, based on the fact that we're only a few games into the season. But anytime these two teams play each other, I think the winning team is going to get double the points, because I really believe that these two teams are going to fight it out for that last playoff spot. I'll bottom line this. I like the over in this game. 6 is the total. Buffalo's defense not that great, and their offense is scoring a ton. Jack Eichel's playing the best hockey of his life right now. I don't love Buffalo in this spot. I think it's a tough spot for them. But I do like over the total, and I'll go to you first, Carmine Bianco.
Yeah, I like the over here as well too. You look at these teams. The Sabres, okay, yeah, we talked about the power play. It's unsustainable, as Dave mentioned yesterday on the show. It's hitting at 53% right now. Their penalty kills at about 78%. And you look at last year. I think it was the Lightning led the league as far as power play percentage, and I think it was only at 27 or 28%. So yeah, 53 is unreasonable, but they're scoring. They're scoring at home. And this Panthers team is doing what I expected them to do, which is play a faster type of hockey this season. And they're scoring goals, but they're allowing goals. I think to this point, Bobrovsky's allowed 14 goals in 3 games. He should be between the pipes. They brought him in to sort of stop that problem that they had last year. The odds, the line's a little odd to me. The Sabres as, say, a small dog at home, but you look at it, the Panthers have won 8 of the last 10 in this series and 10 of the last 15 in Buffalo. So maybe they just travel well to Buffalo, but I can't lean on either side here. I'm looking at goals. So for me, there's a lot of 6s across the board, and I've seen some movement to a couple 6.5s. So that total is getting some play, at least early today. Yeah. So it's over in this game for me.
Yeah, and Alex, really the takeaway from what Carm said was some entity travels well to Buffalo. That is really what stopped me in my tracks.
Yeah, what?
Talk to me.
I mean, it's interesting. You just have that with some. There's a lot of matchups like that throughout the league, and it doesn't matter what teams. The lineup changes have you. There's just teams that have good streaks in certain places or against certain franchises, and that's the case. What you have, like I said, 12 of the last 16 meetings, Florida's won against Buffalo. But I'm not looking at the side here. I'm in the same vein with you guys. I'm going with the total. But I'm going first period over. Anytime you have a total that's around 6 or 6.5, and then with the first period you're getting 1.5 at minus $1.40, that's some really good value there. So I'm definitely jumping all over that.
He's Alex. Carmine's with us. You're watching Puck Time, guys. Real quick, I have a 5% NFL bet for Sunday. It's my favorite play so far in the NFL season. I'm 4-1 in my football 5% plays this year. It's regularly $40. You guys could have it for $15. Just use the promo code Prez5 and then the percentage sign. That's Prez 5%. Last game on the board, and we'll go to you first, Alex. Carolina at 4-0 this season. Outstanding start. Hosting the New York Islanders at 1-2. We have Carolina as a big favorite here, minus 182. The total is 6. And, for me, I think the New York Islanders are a real live dog here. There's a lot of high hopes for this team on the season. They've started off the season 1-2. First road game for them. Carolina, this line to me is out of whack. I mean, these two teams are pretty close to even, and they play a very similar style of hockey. If I'm going to get a dog at that big a price in a matchup like this, I'm going to take it, and I do lean on the under. Alex?
Yeah, I got a side play available for this over at sportsmemo.com. But I'm with you with that under as well. You look at these two teams. It's funny, with the price that we're seeing also with Carolina, it seems as if the Hurricanes, because of how they played last year, and they played this Islanders team in the playoffs, swept them out, it seems like they're becoming more of a public team, it seems, with the price. So that's kind of that inflation. But with this total, I know a lot of people kind of, bullish on the goaltending tandem of Mrazek and Reimer. But if it's Reimer starting, he's had a pretty good track record against the Islanders in his career. And on the flip side, Thomas Greiss has had a really good record against Carolina, 8-4-1 with a 2.57 goals against. So I could see where this maybe a first team to score 2 or 3 goals ends up winning this game. It could be a slow-paced start, and then teams kind of feel each other out. Obviously, there's a big revenge angle for it. New York, getting swept from them in the playoffs. So that's something to look out for. But that total, I definitely would be leaning with the under there.
Carmine Bianco?
Yeah, and he Alex touched on it right at the end there, is we've got to think about what happened last year in the playoffs. You know what I mean? The Hurricanes, they swept the Islanders, who were probably favored in that series. The Islanders were coming off a sweep of Pittsburgh themselves. And the Canes were coming off like a Game 7 against Washington, and they just ran the Islanders over. If Mrazek's in net tonight, he's like 14-5-1 at PNC. There's not much as far as like power plays and everything else goes, but I just think this price right now in the Islanders is a little too high. I understand the Canes are playing well, and that game that the Canes played against Tampa Bay, and we saw what Tampa Bay did to the Leafs last night. I'm not going to harp on it, Lawrence, but the Canes allowed 3 goals to Tampa in the first period and then shut them down. No shots on net in the second period, 2 shots on goal in the third period. That's Tampa Bay getting 2 shots in 2 periods. Unbelievable. And the Canes just played a shut them down style. This is what got them through the playoffs. Now, is it an overreaction? I think it is. Should they be 175 against the Islanders? No, I don't believe so. This line should probably be somewhere in the 140 to 150. I think it's 25 to 30 cents overvalued here. I think it's an overreaction.
Yeah.
If anything, I'm willing to take the dog here, getting $1.55 as well as the Canes are playing. You know, the Islanders are going to bring it tonight.
Guys, that's the card for Friday. Carm, you wanted to make mention of a couple of games on Saturday, and I will as well. I'll hand it to you, my brother.
Yeah, you know, one of them that I talked about on the last show was the Bruins Devils. The Bruins coming back from that West Coast trip. Now, it's not just the Bruins, but most teams in general. They do that West Coast trip. They come back with only a day's rest. They don't play very well that first game. It takes them a little while to get their legs going. You've got they're playing a Devils team that aren't playing really well right now, but they did look good last night. I'll give them credit. They lost in a shootout to the Oilers. They did look good. You know, the Bruins played last night against Colorado. Now return home, 1 day off. They'll play tomorrow. It's going to be a good spot to get a team that's probably going to be about plus 170, plus 180 as a dog. Now, sort of the caveat in this whole thing is the Bruins had 2 long trips last year, West Coast, came back and won both home games on 1 day's rest. So take everything with a grain of salt. The other game is the Chicago-Winnipeg game tomorrow. There's going to be goals in that game.
I love the over. Love it.
But that first period over just looks so good. Last year, 4 games, all of them went over. They averaged 8.5 goals a game, and every single game, the 1.5 first period went over. So that's one game that I'm going to guess you're going to have to pay a premium. Alex will probably know. That's probably going to be like a 1.5 minus.
You're going to have a 2 for sure. And you're probably going to have a 7 for the full game total on that one because the defense is non-existent for both clubs right now. And the way the blue line looked for the Hawks last night, it's not Seabrook that's the issue anymore. It's now Duncan Keith that's the issue. So that's not a good sign.
Yeah, for me, it's funny because I look at 2 games jump out at me before I really roll up my sleeves and start handicapping tomorrow's card. I like the over in the Chicago-Winnipeg game, and there's a 6 on the board right now. I agree with you, Alex. It's not going to remain at 6. So I would take that. If you can find a 6 on the Winnipeg-Chicago game, play that over immediately. And the other one for me... Sorry, Alex?
Run, don't walk if you can get a 6 right now.
And the other one for me is the New York Rangers. I'm high on Edmonton. I've been telling everybody Edmonton's going to be a potential playoff team this year. They've started off 4-0. This is a very, very bad spot for Edmonton. Plus, it's an early game. 1 p.m. on the East Coast for this team. I like the Rangers here. They've started the season 2-0, and they're minus 137. I think the Rangers are going to be right there with Florida and Buffalo, Carolina, New York Islanders, Montreal. All of these teams are going to duel for those 2 wild card spots. So I think the Rangers are a good bet tomorrow. Anything you want to add, Alex?
No, I mean, both are both definitely spots I'll be looking at. Like I said, the Rangers only playing 1 game, having some rest, and catching Edmonton in that daytime spot. That's always tricky for some teams. The Rangers are used to playing in the daytime, where Edmonton not so much. Pittsburgh, Minnesota is another game where we might see goals galore. It's the home opener for the Wild. Wild have looked absolutely terrible so far, but Pittsburgh hasn't been much to write about either. So that's a statement game for both teams. I can see where there'll be some goals scored there. And we got Washington-Dallas rematching for the second time this week. That was a really good game where we saw Dallas get the win in overtime, so there might be some revenge possible for Washington there.
That's the show, boys. Alex B. Smith from sportsmemo.com, Carmine Bianco, and myself from WagerTalk.com. It's been a pleasure doing this show this week. We'll be back on Monday with Alex and hopefully Andrew if his sound is better. Boys, let the puck bounce in our direction. What am I? That guy Van Dyke, or what's his name from WPT? Let the cards... No, that's Mike Berman. Yeah, Carm has a Mike Berman story for all of us.
I don't know what is going on here, but listen, guys, it's going to be an action-packed. There's so many games this weekend. It's just fantastic. This is the best month for any gambler, any bettor. MLB playoffs, hockey, college football, NFL. Like, how can you go wrong? It's a great time to be alive.
It's a great time. That's some deep shit there, Carm. Let's leave it. Let's leave it at that. Namaste. It's a great time to be alive. See you Monday.
See you guys.
Later, guys.